All right, we're back to season 2, Pigskin Politics. I
Yep.
say we carry on like we did last year, and we just roll into our predictions of the teams. But, not as specific as we were last time. I think if we just lump all teams into 3 general categories, if they'll improve this year, if they'll get worse, or if it's, push, if they stay basically the same.
All
And,
right.
yeah, let's roll into that. Who do you want to start with?
All right. Let's start with the AFC North.
Okay.
Browns 6-10 last year. What do you think they are?
Well, I think they just kind of struggled because of Freddie Kitchens, and he's gone, and they replaced him with that was that Vikings coach. I think
Yeah,
that's a much better fit.
Stefanski.
Undoubtedly, they had the talent. I think it's impossible they don't improve. They should
Same.
at least be a playoff team, especially with
Same.
7 teams.
With 7, there's no way they could win at least 9 games.
Yeah, at least
They should be better. There's no way you can be that bad.
Yeah,
Moving on to the Bengals, who were 2-14 last year.
it's a little bit easy just because I don't think they really improved much. But even starting a rookie.
I think they improved marginally, but that's also young talent.
Just because it's hard to be that bad again. Yeah.
If you only win 1 game, that's worse. I mean, like, who wins 1 game?
Yeah,
They can win at least 3, right? They're better.
Yeah, maybe 4 at the limit, but
All right.
yeah.
Moving on, Steelers were 8-8 last year. I'd say a push. I'd say they're probably going to be 8-8 again.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of hate for that. I'd have to agree with you because, again, they've lost talent, but the only saving grace is their schedule isn't too terribly hard, but at the same time, other teams around them have improved.
They also
It's
played
like they
down
went
to their
8-8
opponents.
and they beat the Browns once. I don't even know if they do that this year.
But they also play down to their opponents every time.
And they play up to their opponents. It's a weird
Either
thing,
way.
but 8-8 is a push. 9-7 at best. I
Yeah.
just don't see them having as good a year as everyone thinks.
Counting on Ben Roethlisberger coming back off an elbow injury. I don't buy it.
Yeah, but whatever.
Moving on, Ravens were 14-2 last year.
Worse, but still like the same overall in quality. I doubt they win 14 games, but if they're 12-4 and they're still like the number 1 team in the AFC, I just think they won't win 14 games. I still think they'll be good. It's just hard to
I
replicate.
agree with that in the sense that 14 games that's a really, really high ceiling to set, so it's just hard to win 14 games 2 years in a row. They could still be really good next year, but I don't see them winning 14, so they're probably a little bit worse next year.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move to the NFC North.
Okay.
Let's start with Green Bay. They were 13-3 last year.
Green Bay was a weird one. Made it
Yeah.
to the championship. I think they were kind of a pretender. I think they
Yeah.
kind of just had nonstop luck putting them up. And had the die just fell even slightly different, they would have
Yeah.
been a 10-6 team.
Yeah, I think they were 10-6 in disguise. They're good, but when they played good teams like the Niners, they got their asses whooped, and there's no way they're 13-3.
No.
They'll be a playoff team, but not 13-3.
Yeah, it's either them or the Vikings, so they'll be the playoffs. But I kind of
Yeah.
think with the Justin Love drama, I kind of expect
Jordan
them to.
Love?
That's what I meant. That I just expect them to be a little bit worse.
Sure.
Not 13-3, nowhere close, but 10-6, 9-7.
Lions were 3-12-1.
There's no way they can't improve.
They got to be better.
They were undefeated by week 3 last year, and somehow fell apart. I really think they just gave up after that Green Bay game.
Yeah, after they got called on some of those questionable penalties for hands to the face, I think they gave up. And then the Kansas City loss. They have to be better next year.
There's no way they can't be. Besides
Three
Matt Stafford,
wins,
I don't
man.
think Matt Stafford had a passer rating last year in any game under 100. They have good talent.
Okay.
I think they just gave up because of that Packer game.
All right, moving on. Vikings were 10-6.
That's about right. I'd say that's a
Yeah.
push.
I'd say they're a push. They just got Yannick Ngakwe from
they picked him up.
They picked
Cool.
him up, so I think that's a good addition to their defense. 10-6, I'd say
I
is
think they
reasonable.
have enough talent, even though they gave up Stephon Diggs. But the main thing with them is I expect them to free fall here pretty soon, but that's because they're running out of money. So they've spent it this year. They'll be at least what they were last year.
Yeah.
But, expect in a year or two they'll fall apart. But enough to be a push. 10-6, that's fair to me.
Bears were 8-8 last year.
They're going to do worse. I'd really be surprised.
Is Nick Foles starting or is Trubisky starting?
Does it matter? Like,
I mean, kind of.
until the playoffs are on the line, Foles isn't going to do jack, and Trubisky probably won't complete a pass.
I'd
So,
say they got to be worse. They got to be like a game worse. Their defense will still be all right, but Trubisky and Foles are not good quarterbacks to take your team to the promised land. I mean, Foles did, but he was on a stacked team.
You have to be, like, about to lose, and that's when Foles is in that beautiful zone. So you got to go to at least 0-5 before you see Foles pull some magic.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's move on.
8-8, yeah, worse than that.
AFC East. We'll start with the Patriots, who are 12-4. I think
emphatic worse.
Has to be worse.
8-8 is what I see them at.
They had the most players. They had like 8 players opt out. Some starters. They had Tom Brady is gone.
And I don't even think that matters that much.
Cam
Newton's weird.
He's viable,
He hasn't won a game in 2 years. But Belichick's smart enough to build around him. But will they be 12-4? God, no. God, no.
Undoubtedly worse. All right, moving on to the Dolphins, who are 5-11. And I think everyone agrees better. They got better through free agency, better through the draft.
We overachieved, won 5 games with like little to no talent, and now we picked up a lot of talent. We can't be that bad.
Yeah.
I think we can be a playoff team.
I don't know if they're going to be quite playoff team this year, but it might be 500.
I can see 9-7-ish.
Sure. All right, moving on. Bills 10-6. I think that's right where they'll be. Actually,
yeah,
I think that's a push.
I think they take the division. But, you know, what they picked up, Stephon Diggs, it's fine. I actually don't think that'll work out, but it's neither here nor there. Their strength was their defense, and their defense really didn't get worse.
Yeah, but I think Stephon Diggs, you don't think it's a match. I think it's good for Josh Allen to have that good of a wide receiver that's fast.
Undoubtedly. It's just Stephon Diggs left the Vikings because he wasn't getting enough targets, so he's going to a team that's... Diva? Yeah, The Bills are a run first and, you know, then fail at a passing play, scramble second. Then they pass. So, I mean, I just don't think they'll mesh well, but I'm not going to deny the talent. So it'll work out more or less.
Jets, 7-9.
Worse. Emphatic worse.
They have to be worse.
They are worse.
Adam Gase is playing for his job. If he doesn't start winning, he's gone.
He gave away Jamal Adams.
I mean,
he was their best player.
First-round picks.
Yeah, but what do they have to work with now? Honestly. Name one player you are glad they have if you are a fan.
The Jets' defense was fine last year. I guess C.J. Mosley's already opted out of the season, so they're worse.
And Le'Veon Bell, did he capture lightning in a bottle? No.
He's fine. He was still okay, but the Jets, sorry, you got to get rid of Adam Gase. I don't know what to tell you. Get rid of Adam Gase, you'll be better. Moving on. Cowboys are 8-8.
You know, it's kind of disrespectful, but I actually kind of think that's about right.
I think it's also a push.
They had...
Not even being a hater.
They had undoubtedly so much talent in a crap division, and they still underperformed like crazy. Like, how do you...
They're like the Browns.
How do you sweep the Skins, the Giants, play the AFC East, and go 8-8? They won 3 games outside of their division last year. And with all that talent, they had the #1 offense, for God's sake.
And you got a brand new head coach, no OTAs, no preseason, no mini camp. Mm-hmm. And this coach also had Aaron Rodgers for like 10 years.
And only had the Super Bowl
And he
once.
got kicked out of the NFL for not being creative enough and not adapting. So I see Cowboys are probably 8-8 again.
I don't want to be that guy, but yeah, 8-8's about right. I mean, they could improve slightly, but yeah, it's...
Next one's difficult for me. The Giants were 4-12. Do you think they're better? Just like their quarterback's got a little more experience and Saquon Barkley's still pretty damn good. I'd say yes, but is it that much better?
I'd say maybe a 5-11 team. Saquon Barkley had put the team on his back, but outside of winning against like the Skins and the Bengals, I don't think they're
football team.
I just don't think they're very good. I think they're a year or two away from building back to something. I think they'll improve. It's hard not to improve on 4-12, but
right.
I think they're improved, but not by much. Just by virtue of you can't be that bad.
I have the same issue with the next team. I want to say the Skins, but
is it wrong as long as you don't say red? Is it wrong to say the Skins? I get it's officially the Washington football team, but
until they pick a mascot, we're just going to call them the Skins. But they're 3-13 last year, so I mean, their defense I think got better. Their coach I think is an upgrade, but him going through chemotherapy, is that going to weigh in on it, or is the players going to try harder for him?
I mean,
and their quarterback was just a disaster last year. I don't know what to think of these guys, man.
I kind of think they're a push, especially with Dan Snyder going through all the drama he's going through. I expect it to be like a top to bottom, just crap flowing downhill, and it's just going to affect every piece of them. Like, I could see them being one of the 2 worst teams in the NFL again. So
I agree. They're probably bottom feeders.
But they could improve. Just 5's their ceiling, unless somehow they prove me really wrong. But I doubt changing their name is going to magically make them viable. So.
Okay. And finally, we have the Eagles, 9-7 last year.
The Eagles are fine. You know, I see them about that again, 10-6, 9-7.
Does it bother you that Carson Wentz is already battling injuries through training camp?
Not really. The Eagles are that weird team where they'll always find their way. Even when they spend all their money and they don't have as much talent, they're plucky, they'll fight their way in, they'll find their way in. They're not a bad team. Sure, they'll have weird games, but they can beat the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay, but lose to the Lions in Philly. But I think they'll be fine. 9-7 is actually fair. I'd say it's a push, if not a 10-6.
I'd say it's a push if Carson Wentz can't stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, they're better.
Yeah.
All right. AFC South. The Colts were 7-9 last year.
Well, it all comes down to Phillip Rivers, don't it? And he's got a good quarterback.
He's got an upgraded O-line there, though. I think they're better.
The Chargers had a good O-line, though. But the Colts is better.
No, not that year.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because they went from 12-4 to 5-11 on a huge swing, despite having mostly the same overall talent.
Let's see if Phillip Rivers isn't a piece of crap. If he gets along with people and he actually tries, the Colts are better.
Yeah, the Colts do have talent. I'll say it's better. I don't know if they'll be like a 10-win team, but I could see them 9 as their ceiling. You know, just luck leaving them last year kind of left them in a bad situation.
Dude, that was a bad... I kind of want to say that's a dick move, just to be like, yeah, I'm retiring a week before the season starts.
It's whatever.
Deal with it. All right.
They should be better. I mean,
Jaguars 6-10. I think this is an easy one.
Yeah, they'll be worse.
They'll be worse. They sold their team for draft picks. I think they're tanking for probably the number one.
Trevor.
Tanking for Trevor Lawrence, and then maybe in 2 years they'll flip it around and be better. But
take it from me. Sometimes you just gotta tank, and maybe you'll get the player you're after, and then maybe you'll get a coach that's not a moron. It all works out eventually. Not this year for them. Outside of Minshew magic, I'd be surprised if they won 3 games. It's weird. It's going to be either the Jags or the Washington football team. Those would be my picks for the worst in the NFL.
Okay. All right. Texans, they were 10-6 last year. Better or worse?
I would like to nominate them as a free fall candidate.
Free falling?
Free fall candidate.
Be that bad, huh?
I'd say like 7 wins is their max. I think Bill O'Brien lost that locker room after he gave away D-Hop and that collapse in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think they are just... I don't see how that doesn't affect everyone in that organization.
I think that 24-point lead against KC, it should definitely weigh in on this year, and sending DeAndre Hopkins away, so I don't think they'll be free fall bad, but they're going to be worse than 10-6.
They ain't winning the division, that's for sure.
Do you think the Colts will?
My choice is actually the Titans.
All right, Titans.
Next team, 9-7. I think they'll be better. They had a magic season after Tannehill came in, and Mariota started 6 of those games and lost over half of them. I think just starting Tannehill will mitigate those woes. I think that the Titans are probably one of my 3 choices as the number 1, 2, and 3 teams in the AFC. They're my pick for the South. I think they're good on the whole.
They should win their division. They should win at least like 10 games.
Absolutely.
They should be better. As soon as they put in Tannehill in the middle of the year, they found their groove. They got crap going. They got their crap together.
And they got Derrick Henry and Tannehill again, and that was the heart and soul. So I think they're good. They'll be fine. Yeah. They'll be better just by not starting a, moron at quarterback.
All right.
That's mean to Mariota. I don't mean that.
NFC West. The Rams were 9-7 last year. Better or worse?
I kind of think worse. I think that Super Bowl hangovers, criminy, are real, and They didn't deserve to be in the one they were in. I figured they'd get worse last year because they spent all their money to make it to that Super Bowl. And now I don't think they have that money again. I think they're just going to get worse again. Not by much, but I'd say 7-9, 8-8.
Yeah.
They'd be lucky if they push.
I'd agree with you. I don't like what the Rams front office does, like trading away first round picks so often. Like, why give up 2 for Jalen Ramsey? I thought that was dumb.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like they
don't even have another.
They don't
first
build
round
with
pick
their
for like
drafts
5
very
more
well.
years.
And other teams around them have improved, thus making it harder for them to net the wins they did. Moving into the next team, what's the opposite of a free fall?
Ascending? I don't know.
An ascending team, a high ascending team. That's my next pick.
The Cards are going to be surprisingly good.
I think they're a playoff team. I think they'll shock everyone, but not in like a shocking way. Everyone kind of thinks like, the Cards can be good next year, and I'm kind of on board with it.
I think the Cards, Kyler Murray might be MVP next year. The last 3 years in a row, it's been a second-year quarterback. It was Carson Wentz, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Kyler Murray might be the fourth one.
It's plausible. At the very least, though, they got D-Hop and Larry Fitzgerald. That undoubtedly is just...
Yeah.
What are teams going to do about that?
I don't know, but their division's tough, but wild card. I think they could be a wild card team.
I think they'll be a greatly improved team.
Seahawks.
11-5, and I actually think they get better. I think they struggled against the Niners and the Rams in a couple games. I don't think they'll do that this year. And they have 2 players I like. Jamal Adams, I think he's the best safety in the league.
He is.
And Greg Olsen, who not a lot of tight ends get valued that highly, but I will always value Greg Olsen. And shit, I think that's all they need. I think that puts them as, one of the top teams in the NFC right there.
I think with their division being better, I think third push. 11-5 seems fair to me. They could do that again.
Yeah, but I think they can improve. Jamal Adams and Greg Olsen, just that is all they need.
All right. Moving on to the Niners, 13-3 last year.
We gave them a lot of hate last year, and they made it to the Super Bowl. Listen, sorry. I do think they'll be worse, but not in a way that matters. It's the same as how the Ravens looked. I think it's hard to replicate that record, but they'll still be a playoff team. They could be a free fall candidate. I could see it just because Super Bowl hangover. But
we'll see how they take that loss. It's how they put it together this year. I don't know.
I still think they'll be at least 10-6.
Shanahan's, or not Shanahan, whatever the hell his name is, still a good coach. So.
Yeah, Shanahan.
All right, AFC West.
Chiefs, 12-4. I actually think they get better. I think this is dangerous territory and being a bit bold with a prediction. But where do you even see them losing games this year? They have a amazing run in around the playoffs last year. Outside of Mahomes being injured, Mahomes was healthy for only one of the games they lost. And then they lost 3 while he was, either sort of injured or just going outright. Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to say he's probably not going to get injured again. Those are hard to predict, and that team's just stacked top to bottom. I say
their
they improve.
Offense is absolutely stacked top to bottom.
I could see them winning 14 games.
Well, with the contract Mahomes is given, I think they got at least another 2-year window of being really dominant before they start taking a nosedive. So.
Yeah, it all comes down to money. But
all right. Broncos. They're 7-9. I actually think they're kind of on an upward turn, but...
Is it enough to say they improve, or is that about a push?
I'd say they're improved, but 500 might be right where they're at.
So like 8-8.
Yeah.
9, maybe 9-7.
Maybe 9-7.
All right, I'd say a tentative push, either 7-9, 8-8, 9-7. I do think they'll be better this year. Just I've seen a lot of Bronco fans be super excited, and I think that's unnecessary. I don't think that's coming.
It always happens with at the end of the year where a team starts winning a bunch of games, useless, meaningless games.
And they pad your stats. Just like with the Jets last year.
Well, the Dolphins did the same thing, but...
We won a game that mattered, dude.
What, week 17 game?
That was awesome.
It didn't matter to you guys, but...
It mattered to us. Trust me.
Raiders, 7-9.
I'd actually say that's a push outright. We did our video.
Every time a team moves, they're worse. They're bad the first year. I think they're going to be bad this first year.
give it 2,
Vegas.
3 years, they'll be better. But this first year, I don't think they'll improve. It's just moving a team is rough on them. So just give it a year or two. But for now, 7-9's about a push. It's fair.
Okay. Chargers were 5-11 last year.
Okay, so comes down to rookie. Like, do you think they'll be better with a rookie quarterback? Because this is a team that had the talent to be 12-4, had roughly that same amount of talent, and then went 5-11.
I kind of think that was Phillip Rivers' fault for being such a diva and no one liking him, but
like the team just
they have
didn't
so
respond
much
to him.
talent, even with a rookie quarterback. Even if it's Tyrod Taylor might start.
Tyrod
Even if
Taylor,
it is Justin Herbert, they should be better than 5 wins. Like, it's not that hard to win 6 games.
With that level of talent, yes. All right, I'll give them an improve. I'd be surprised if they were a push. I really would, even with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah. And last division, NFC South. The Saints were 13-3 last year.
That's a push. I think that's about perfect, and I think that's even with giving up on their Week 17 game. I think they'll have everything lined up the way they wanted. They should have been a bye team last year. I think they're still my choice for the NFC. They haven't lost talent. I think they're still just good top to bottom. I think it'd be crazy to say they'd even be worse.
I'm going to say they're going to be worse.
Really? But in a way that matters.
In a way that they'll still be really good. It's probably still the first or second seed, but like 12-4.
Oh, so not really worse.
No, like
kinda.
a game worse.
Okay. The
All right.
Bucks 7-9.
I'd say the Bucks are better.
They are, but 9-7's their ceiling, and I will say that outright.
Yeah, I'd say Brady is not going to throw 30 picks, but he probably won't throw 30 or touchdowns.
I would be surprised if the Bucks are a playoff team. Not that surprised. I think they can be the 7th seed, but undoubtedly they did pick up talent. You got Gronk, LaShawn McCoy. I think they did address things they needed to address.
LaShawn McCoy is good.
It's just everyone's like riding super high on him. I think they'll improve, just not to the extent that a lot of people think. 9-7, they'll be better, but tentatively, I don't like saying that they're better.
All right, Falcons 7-9.
They're a weird one.
This one's hard because they have talent stacked across the offense. They're incredibly talented, but they can never, for some reason, after that 28-3 choke, they can't get their shit together. I don't know what to think of the Falcons right now. I should say they're better, but right now I'm going to say they're a push because they haven't proven anything. They might even be worse.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say they're improved. Like, hell, ever since that Super Bowl, they just haven't been the same.
Yeah.
They made it to the playoffs once, and now they missed it the last 2 years.
But they get some guys coming back from injury. They got Hayden Hurst and crap.
I want to say they're improved. Like, Matt Ryan's a top 5 quarterback, and you got Julio Jones. It's just...
Yeah.
They should be better, but I can't stand by that. I mean,
can't either, man. They got to do it first
say,
to believe in them.
I'd say I'm like 60% on they'll improve, but not by that much. They're just too hard to place. But I doubt they'll be worse.
Honestly. And then the final team was the Panthers at 5-11 last year.
Well, they're starting Teddy Bridgewater as the quarterback. They got rid of Riverboat Ron.
It's kind of hard to say. I think they went balls to the wall defense in their draft.
That is smart. I'll say they'll be better, but I don't know if they'll... 8-8 might be their ceiling.
So better, but not... They'll be a good team.
Not,
better.
yeah. Like,
I can get on board with that, because 5 wins isn't that many wins.
Yeah, and I like Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, he's not a great quarterback, but if he has talent around him, he's fine. Like, he was undefeated when Drew Brees was injured last year. So, yeah, exactly.
All right, that concludes this video.
Yeah, I would say that's all there is to say. Cool. All right, bye.